Today is a very special day, the 25th of April 2024, which means it has been 10 years since the Star Wars Expanded Universe has been killed off and rebranded as Star Wars Legends, and this can only mean one thing to celebrate this occasion. It's time to talk about the new canon Disney novels, specifically the first one, A New Dawn by John Jackson Miller, released in September 2014. This was the first Star Wars book, officially the first book ever, because it was the first book to be made with the help of the Lucasfilm Story Group. As we know, a story group never existed beforehand. That's why Legends was such a fucking mess of contradictions, but now this will begin to make things right. This book is basically just a prequel to the Rebels TV show, which I've only seen the first 2 seasons and then never continued because I found it fucking terrible. So obviously my expectations were pretty high, and I gotta say A New Dawn is not good, it's not bad. It is one of the most forgettable books ever. Just, it's okay, it's completely mediocre, and pretty much nothing sticks in your mind after you finished reading it. It's just the story of how Kanan met Hera, the Twi'lek lady or whatever, and the only things I actually remember, because I read this book 2017, I think, but basically the villain is kind of cliche and not really like deep or anything, but he's kind of fun. The main character Kanan, his characterization doesn't fit how he is in the show, though I don't think that's because the character was like changed drastically or anything. It's just because the show probably couldn't show this, because in this book he's basically almost an alcoholic and a ladies' man who fucks around a lot. And you don't get that in the show because it's made for babies. So is most Star Wars content, but especially the TV shows. Then we have the green Twi'lek lady, who's like, everybody loves her and respects her, and she's super capable at everything. I don't think she had a single character flaw in this book, or made any like actual mistakes. So that was annoying. She basically walks through this book like she has God mode activated. This book is also 400 pages long. That's at least 100 pages too many, probably 150 pages too many, because this book's story is very simple and straightforward. Would I say this is the worst book by John Jackson Miller? Which I don't think, have I mentioned this? This book was written by John Jackson Miller, by the way. Famous author, good author, most of the time. But then he also wrote Knight Errant. This book is maybe better than Knight Errant, just because Knight Errant, the book, is so fucking boring, but at least it has like an interesting era and aesthetics and like villains and stuff, even though the main character sucks and the book is boring for a lot of it. I don't know. Would I recommend anyone to read A New Dawn? I don't know why, unless you are really desperate to read the backstory for these 2 characters from Rebels, which I don't know why anyone would be interested in Rebels, or why anyone would be interested in reading this book, which I'm pretty sure probably has been contradicted at this point by Dave Filoni in one of his other shows, or it's gonna be pretty soon. But again, the story group, that's what I appreciate. They just plan everything out, they make sure everything fits and is on the same level of continuity as they promised. And I appreciate that. I mean, A New Dawn really is a milestone. This is the first, officially speaking, the first Star Wars novel ever written. Therefore, I can only give it the highest praise and definite recommendation. And this was only the start of so many epic new stories. We had this one, we had Heir to the Jedi, with the math aliens, and the noodles, and the Force, and Luke using the Force to move noodles. We had Dark Disciple, which was, you know, the Quinlan Vos story, the famous character created by Dave Filoni for TCW. And it was so awesome just see this story play out, finally. As you know, I'm a big fan of TCW. And especially Christy Golden's, she's such a fantastic writer, especially her stuff in Fate of the Jedi. And of course we got Tarkin by James Luceno, his best book. I mean, after his last few years of just shitty books like Millennium Falcon or Darth Plagueis and that stuff, it's a nice return to form. And I mean, do I even need to mention Aftermath? It's such a fascinating book that really established a lot of things. And hopefully I will be able to talk about all of these fantastic books at some point in the future. But for now, let's celebrate the mercy killing of Legends and these fucking terrible stories full of contradictions and stuff. We have a new era here, a new dawn, so to speak. And this was just an excellent beginning, much better than any start of the expanded universe. If you count, I don't know, Splint of the Mind's Eye or Heir to the Empire, this book just blows them out of the water. So, see you next time with another video.